So I thought that I was done for the day. I thought I was done filming anything for today. I was going to put out another video. I was sitting on the sofa watching American Son with Kerry Washington, a little pissed off because it is a little bit of about a race issue and, the time that we're living in right now. I'm sitting on the sofa minding my own business, and I get a text message from someone, from a cisgender heterosexual man saying, "Did you see what Donald Trump just did?" And it's really crazy to me because um, first of all, let me just read you guys in case you have not heard. Let me read to you what's going on right now. So CNN just put this out. It says the Trump administration announced Friday it is eliminating an Obama-era regulation prohibiting discrimination in healthcare against patients who are transgender. The move coming during Pride Month and annual celebration of the LGBTQ community that takes place throughout the month of June and on the 4-year anniversary. And see, let me just stop there. So you heard what I just said. Instead of giving rights at a time like this, we're taking rights away. Excuse me, they're taking rights away. Not only during Pride Month, but also on the day of the anniversary of that 49 people were killed and several people were injured at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. Now, let me just break this down for you guys, because I'm also pissed because this also comes this morning. I found out that another 2 women, and I just was preaching to you guys a week ago about trans lives mattering, Black transgender lives mattering. And what do I wake up to this morning? R.I.P.Riah Milton, or Mitten, Dominique Fells from Philadelphia. Riah was from, I want to say, Ohio. I didn't write it all down because I was writing fast and I was pissed. I am. So Tuesday, Dominique's body was found in a river, dismembered. Her legs were severed mid-thigh, and she had trauma to her face and head. 2 more Black transgender women. And see, I keep telling you guys, I keep telling everybody, I keep saying, and last week when I put out that video, I got some backlash from people that are just ignorant, whatever. I got some support, but I also got some friends of mine that are like, I didn't know. And I'm like, of course you guys don't know, because it doesn't, you guys don't see it as much. It's not publicized as much. But if this is not the biggest slap in the face, this what just came out, I don't understand what is going on. This man, this orange treasure troll in the White House, who has nothing better to do than to fuck with transgender people, gay people, Black people, whoever, like, who is this bothering? How is it bothering you that Obama, and you basically, this just speaks to, you just want to reverse every single thing that President Obama did. But how is it bothering you to give rights to someone who is transgender? Why do you need to take them away? Especially something that has to do with healthcare. This does not make any sense. If this is not the most transparent thing, and I keep saying that trans women, we are on the lowest of the totem pole. Trans women of color on the lowest end of the totem pole. Yes, we're marching for Black lives right now. We're not just marching for Black men. We're marching for all Black lives right now. And I've said it, and I'm going to keep saying it until everybody gets it in their head. I'm not going to stop saying it. It is insane to me that I'm having to make this video right now. I don't understand what is going on with the world. This was 2016. It was a rule enacted in 2016 to ban on sex discrimination and include discrimination on the bias of gender. This includes discrimination on the bias of gender identity. So meaning you couldn't discriminate against us for being transgender. You now want to overturn that? Like, I've read this over and over again, and I'm like, I don't get it. So the U.S. Department of Health and Human Resources said in a statement Friday that it was eliminating certain provisions of the 2016 rule that exceeded the scope of the authority delegated by Congress in Section 1557. HHS will enforce Section 1557 by returning to the government's interpretation of sex discrimination according to the plain meaning of the word sex as male or female and as determined by biology. What does this even mean? This means that, if I'm reading this correctly, because I text some of my other trans activists and trans friends, but I didn't really go into depth. But what this is saying is basically, I can discriminate on you based on, if I don't like the fact that you're transgender, or basically like misgender you. And that's another thing why these bodies were not found immediately, because they were misgendered, or also just because they just don't give shit. Like, that's what I'm starting to like. I'm trying to get you guys to realize that I've known this for a while. They just don't give a shit about us. And it is really hard for me, because who's going to stand up for us? We're marching for Black lives. That's another conversation. I had the conversation last week. I'm going to go into depth about it. But Black men are killing Black trans women. Not all Black men, but these transgender women of color are being killed by Black men and discriminated against by the president, who's supposed to be leading and giving rights away, not taking. You don't take rights away from people. That's fucking ridiculous. And it's like, we need you guys to stand up with us. If you are cisgender, heterosexual, or homosexual, we need you to stand up, whether you're Black, white, whatever. If we're going to say that Black lives matter, all Black lives have to matter. These are two separate issues. I do understand that. So before somebody writes that in the comments, I do understand, but it all ties together, because we're talking about transgender people. And now, I cannot, before anybody says like, oh, well, before you all lives matter me, or before you say something that even is on the same line of that. Well, right now we're fighting for, it all goes together, because if we're going to talk about Black lives, we're going to talk about all Black lives. And for me, I speak from the perspective of a transgender woman of color who are discriminated against disproportionately in this country. I keep saying this over and over again, and I don't understand what is going on. And what a slap in the face. It's almost as if he strategically did this on this day, during this month. You have nothing else going on in the world right now that you decided to just fuck with LGBTQ people, namely transgender people, during a month that they're supposed to be celebrating their pride? Are you serious? Fuck you. Fuck you. I've said it before. Fuck you. This is absolutely insane. And it broke my heart when I had to read about these trans women who were killed. And you basically don't value us as citizens. So why should anybody else? Why should the men that love us, or the men that claim to love us, that want to date us, or that the men, period, anybody? Because I don't know if Dominique or R.I.P.Riah were killed by somebody that they were involved with, but and what they do to this, like I said to you guys before, the two trans women who were burned in a car in Puerto Rico. I just don't get it. And I want to say this. We are not sitting down for this. We're not laying down for this. This isn't the last time you're going to hear about this. I promise you that. We're not putting up with this anymore. This is far from over. You may think that you run this country. You don't run shit up in here. Trust me, when it comes to our bodies. We will let you know that. And I'm going to urge you guys again, go out and vote. If you haven't, make sure you are at the polls. because this is how we create change. This is how we got to get him out of that office. This is ridiculous. Just minding your business on a Friday night on the anniversary. Some people who were lost in the Pulse massacre. So, sitting at home, probably doing a candlelight visual or reflecting on how much they miss this person and all this stuff, and all of a sudden, on a Friday, we were just minding our business. I'm just sitting back watching a movie, trying to get some education on my black people. This comes. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. And if you guys don't see this, and you may not be a transgender person, you may not be the LGBTQ community, whoever is watching this. If you don't understand this, if you don't see what is happening right now, you've got to be blind. You've got to be blind. I'm going to link the article from CNN down below. I'm also going to link the articles about the two girls, the two transgender women who were killed. That is, we have to say their name, Riah and Dominique. Rest in peace, but this has got to stop. And this is not the end of this. We're coming after you. We're coming after you. And I'm holding everybody accountable, especially people in power. Especially people in power. You're not going to keep fucking with us. We will not stand for it. Period.